Come with me to an author event with Kalagian Blunt, where she's releasing her new book, and I have a spot in the acknowledgements, so I'm super excited. I love Ashley. She's a great Aussie thriller writer. I'm headed down to Erina tonight, to the Erina Library. We're going to go and do a fun little author event, and I figured I would take you guys along for the ride. All three kids are in with Anthony. I'm going and having a mum's night by myself to say hi to Ashley and launch her new book, so come along.
There's so much we can't talk about. You can tell we're kind of talking around the book because there's just so much we can't talk about in terms of spoilers in this book.
Yeah, we've already gone too far.
I know.
We have to kill you, I'm afraid.
Okay, growing up I read books about enchanting bliss, falling head over heels, sealed by a true love's kiss. Embers in the air, flickers everywhere, a fire you just can't miss. Now the older
I just got finished. I couldn't take as much footage as I wanted to in the venue just because there wasn't a lot of people taking footage, so it was a little bit difficult to pull my camera out because the few things, they had a lot of audience involvement. I didn't feel comfortable filming people that didn't have my permission, but I did meet a couple of new Bookstagram friends, so that was great to kind of get back in the community and meet a few people from the Bookstagram community, including some new people that have just joined the Bookstagram community, so that was really cool. I did get some books signed and purchase a copy of the new book. So I already had a copy of Cold Truth by Kalagian Blunt, and this one I loved. It's set in a -40-degree winter in Winnipeg, I believe. Yes, Winnipeg. And really dark web, twisty, psychological thriller. And then we have the new one that has just come out, which is Like, Follow, Die by Kalagian Blunt, which I haven't read yet because I was waiting for this event to get a copy. This follows kind of like that. It follows three perspectives. We have a 16-year-old boy, a mother of that boy, and a police constable who is, I guess, investigating something that has happened. We don't really know what. This young boy, it follows his story from 13 to I want to say 18, and all the crazy things that he gets thrust into in social media, on the web, affect the manosphere. I don't know if you guys have seen the recent documentaries that have come out against this, but this tackles into that conversation. And a lot of the conversation tonight was all around that, and it was really, really interesting to hear her thoughts behind where she comes up with these stories. And also we got to hear about what is going on with her next book, which I'm really, really excited about. She is writing an outback thriller that also features this dark web or crime based around technology. And for her to do that, she went and did survival training where she ate crickets and did all these fun, interesting things. So it was really cool to meet her in person. I've supported her for a little while now, since 2022 or 2023 when I read Dark Mode as an art copy through Booktopia. I spoke about it on the Booktopia podcast, and I've supported her and loved her books, and it was really, really good to be able to get out, see her in person, and have a chat with her about her influence on my reading. There was a lot of people there, so I didn't get to talk to her for too long, and I couldn't really film that interaction, but she did sign my book and personalized it and welcomed me to the duck cult. There is a story behind that. Pretty much she has here in Australia there is a cookbook, the Women's Weekly Cookbook, and in one of her books, one of the mothers is Australian, and so she did a little bit of research and found this caramello koala cake, and she thought that this was a cake that so many people would have had made for them as a birthday cake here in Australia. So she put that in the book, and everyone was like, no, if you were gonna do a cake, it would be a cake from this Australian Women's Weekly birthday book, which if you're Australian, you know exactly the book that I'm talking about. And so she ended up getting all these submissions of people showing photos of them as kids with their cakes, and also making suggestions and making them and sending photos. And what ended up happening is she went to an author event over in Perth, and one of the her readers gave her this duck that you'll see in some of the footage, and it was a duck that was out of this Australian cake. It had popcorn hair and all kinds of things. Well, anyways, she would hold it up in author events, and all these people were taking photos of it and posting it on social media. So then it looked like she was trying to praise the duck. So then this created this insane cult following, people were making like bags and stickers and everything like welcome to the duck cult or praise the duck. So I'm now a part of the duck cult because I asked a question in the audience tonight and received a praise the duck sticker. I am part of the duck cult. And so she wrote that in the front of my book. I am now going to head home. And I am going to start listening to the audiobook of Like, Follow, Die, because this was originally meant to be an audio book and has now come out in written format. So I would love to listen to the audiobook. Apparently it's got a really good cast of characters that do the different voices. So I'm going to listen to that on my drive home. But yeah, thank you so much for coming along with me to this beautiful author event. Thank you, Ashley, for reaching out to me and inviting me. And also, I want to say thank you for including me in your acknowledgements for Like, Follow, Die. Right at the end there, I don't know if you can see, my name is there, Crystal, and it's me. So yeah. And I found out that I'm also in the acknowledgements for Cold Truth because I saw it the other day. So yay, I've loved supporting you. I've loved supporting this author. And if you're looking for an Australian thriller author that really, really touches on like this crazy reality of the dark web and everything that influences our children and what they're seeing and how they're feeling, I definitely think that this is some like hard-hitting stories. I know that there's currently people trying to get Like, Follow, Die in front of certain people that can potentially change legislation with regards to how our social media feeds are presented to us. There is something you can sign, I'll have it linked down below, which is all about adjusting our feeds and getting them back to the way they were, where it's just the people we follow posting things in the order that they posted them in, which is how we used to see things before money backed pushing this agenda on our young men and now women that are feeling like they need to feel that way. And so I'm very, very excited for that. So yeah, if you feel like signing it, it is linked down below. Now, before I go, I did want to say I went to this author event which is all about thrillers, and I've come back to my car and the person parked next to me or in front of me has this. Oh, it's not going to turn around. This is annoying. Hold on. I don't know if you can see this, but what the fuck car covers is that? Like, that's just fucking creepy. Who does that? Like, who does that? I don't understand. Anyways, I'm going to go home now and get the fuck away from that car because it looks like it's going to murder me. Thanks for coming along. And if you would like to be a part of the conversation, you can let me know down in the comments down below one thing on the internet that scared you this week. Okay, so I'm sitting down to start my audible listen of Like, Follow, Die. I didn't end up being able to download it for the drive home. It is now Saturday evening and I've gone to 2 open homes today and Anthony is out with the boys. Kids are all asleep. And so this is what I'm jumping down to listen to. So I'll take you along for the ride. At the moment reading Like, Follow, Die, and there's a journal entry from one of the main characters, and it's April 2020, so mid-COVID, and he says, Mum says I'm getting addicted to my phone, as if that doesn't describe every person on the planet. She said I need to turn it off before bed and not look at it until morning, otherwise I'm going to disrupt my sleep pattern for the rest of my life. She didn't have the internet when she was a teenager, so she has no idea. Night time is 100 hours long. What does she expect me to do when I can't sleep? Just lie there? The problem is she's so ancient. She was 41. I'm 35. Oh, it's so bad. So I've just finished Like, Follow, Die by Ashley Kalagian Blunt, and I wanted to give you some of my final thoughts on this. I've sat and kind of thought about this a little while, but I have some thoughts. This one is definitely going to stay with me. I feel like what stood out most is like just how real this story feels. It like actually opened up some very interesting conversations with my 15-year-old nephew like last night, and like the content like he's exposed to online. And like that alone made this book feel like incredibly impactful. But as a mum, this one hit on like a completely different level. Reading this like made me genuinely fearful for the world my daughters are going to be raised in and the kind of messaging young boys are going to be fed that are going to grow up to be the men that like my daughters end up in relationships with. It made me think a lot as well about how I like will raise my son and like how important that is, and like how I kind of like censor what he's exposed to. It's one of those books that doesn't just like entertain you, it kind of like shakes you a little bit. I loved the structure, the multiple POVs, and the way they like kind of all slowly come together at the end. It just worked so well. And like, especially in audio, it felt almost like I was like listening to a true crime documentary. It was honestly such a like immersive experience. Now I wanted to talk to you a little about the pacing of this book. It is obviously a slow burn, but for me, personally, that didn't take away from the story of it at all. If anything, it built that sense of dread like really effectively. I've seen some people reviews and say that they felt that it was like unrealistic, but I think this might come from a place of them just not having experienced or seen these sides of things. To me, it was like uncomfortably believable. I will say though, this is not an easy read. There was moments I actually felt intimidated to keep going. Like I didn't want to read and find out what was coming next, but I also couldn't look away. It was very much like watching a car crash. You know it's going to be bad, but you just can't stop. Overall, I think this is a really confronting, thought-provoking read that I think will stick with me for a long time, and definitely one that like sparks important conversations. I definitely think this would be a fantastic book club recommendation. I have actually suggested this to my book club and we are reading it this month, so it worked out really well that I was reading it for this vlog. But if you've read it, and I'd love to know your thoughts, because this is the kind of book that like I just need to talk to someone about. So if you want to read it and talk to me about it, DM me anytime. If you have children and read this, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you don't have children and read this, I would love to have your thoughts, because Ashley Kalagian Blunt like doesn't have children, but she writes books that makes you really afraid for the lives of your children. If you want to read other books by Ashley Kalagian Blunt, I can highly recommend Dark Mode, which was the first one that I read of hers. This is a great book. I definitely think you should check it out if you're after that like emotional, dark thriller that has like technological elements to it. They do comp this to, if you're a fan of the Netflix show Adolescence. Now that I've finished it, I will need to go and watch that, because I can probably compare that based on what I have heard. But if that was too hard for you to watch and you had to turn it off, this might be like almost like a gentler version of it. I don't know. It is definitely pretty intense though. But it is a topic of conversation that more and more people need to be talking about, because it unfortunately is being kind of just left in the dark, and there's a few people that are choosing to ignore, and that is the whole point of this conversation, of this book, is the mother in the story chooses to ignore because of her own stuff, and then this leads to effectively things going wrong. So thank you so much for coming along with me to the author event and hearing my thoughts on Like, Follow, Die by Ashley Kalagian Blunt. If there are any other books that you would like to hear my thoughts on, let me know. But without further ado, I'm going to move on to my next video. If you'd like to connect with me in other places, then my Instagram and Storygraph is linked down below. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.